There's a particular kind of guilt that comes from knowing you should meditate and still not being able to make yourself do it. If you've told yourself you're just not disciplined enough, I want to offer you something different. So recently, I've just been coming back to doing yoga after a year of not practicing at all. There was a lot of self-judgment in just coming back to that practice. That was tough because there was so much expectation. It feels like I should know this. I've done these practices before. I've memorized it before. I've taught yoga before, but there's still this big expectation that everything would be exactly the way it was when I was doing yoga more regularly. Same with meditation. Back then, I didn't really practice daily as I did now. And whenever I go back to practicing, it would just feel hard. It would not have the same flow. So you know what meditation is. You've tried it and then you stopped. Maybe you tried it again. Maybe you stop. And now there's this quiet story, maybe, that there is something wrong. Something wrong with you even, maybe. Or maybe this is just a big character flaw. And I notice that whenever I force myself to do something with so much willpower, I'm gonna do it. That never works. That discipline that comes from guilt feels like a big push against yourself. And it's quite subtle because whenever we start any kind of habit, there is this intensity that maybe we need to put in that isn't there before, because this is a new practice. But I personally will forget it if it's something that I have done it before and then I'm gonna come back to it now. I should still be doing the same thing. There shouldn't be any difference, even though I'm different now, even though it's maybe years that I have last practiced it. What actually sustains practice is something quieter. It's something more genuine. It's more like genuine wanting in a way, but not with grasping. Just knowing that this is something consciously that is maybe the right path or the more aligned path for me. It's not exactly motivation. I won't call it that, but maybe it started with motivation. Sometimes it starts with that. And definitely, this isn't willpower. It's just a small, real movement towards this thing, toward this beautiful habit that I want to cultivate and embody. When your practice has stopped, maybe you can ask yourself, was it discipline that ran out? Or was it that energy behind that practice? Maybe it wasn't truly yours to begin with. Did you practice before you genuinely wanted to practice, or because you kind of felt you should? So check if it's really something that at this point in time that you are called to do. And it's not because there's external factors. Is this something really yours? When the practice stops, when the practice collapses, this is not failure. That is just information that's maybe your system telling you. That's something about how the practice was not structured. It could have been too effortful, too obligatory, or maybe that it's not rooted in anything real for you at that moment. But maybe now it is. Things can change. For example, when I went back to yoga, I really had to adjust the practice to be more gentle. Also, I don't know, maybe because I'm a little bit older now, and also since my body hasn't had a lot of movement, and maybe because my body isn't used to the yoga practice anymore, I had to go back to more gentle movements, more gentle practices, slower things that I would feel are not like to the level of someone who took like a yoga teacher training program. Just doing that made me want to come back to it. It's not anymore this concept in my head of what I should do. It's more of listening to my body and what my body needs, and taking that rest. And then slowly, because I listened to my body, I was actually able to do it daily. And then slowly I was able to come back to the practices I was doing when I stopped back then. It's more of that pause and really being gentle and really listening to what I need right now and not what I could do back then. The stressed brain resists stillness, not because you're weak, but because survival mode and presence can't occupy the same space at the same time. And the more I kind of pushed with the practice, the more stressful the practice has become. And instead of finding my stillness, it became like this big kind of thing of, this is what I should be doing. But of course, it was all very conceptual, so that wasn't exactly what was happening. And that's something that I had to come in terms with. That is not very easy. Before the next breath, if you can just notice what's already here. Not to fix it, not to meditate perfectly, just what is actually present right now. What is coming up? The noticing. This is exactly what the practice is. Meditation is about befriending ourselves, knowing ourselves more, and sometimes those little fights with myself, fights would come up, and that is something worth noticing too as well. So just noticing at the moment when you can, not just 30 minutes that you're doing the meditation, not the perfect conditions, just this right here, right now. All right, so next week we'll be talking about what mindfulness asks of us. And I think it's less than you've been told.